Power players of the plate. Yes, everybody needs something to eat. We had just a discussion. We need a low core temperature. We need air to breathe. And now we're talking about the food system. The planetary health diet is one of the most revolutionary ideas that we have in medicine. And I have one slide to show it's not about Verzicht. It's not about reducing something. It's about enjoying food that's better for your health and better for the planet. So it's a typical win-win. Just to give you the idea of the lever these two have, if everybody in Germany alone would start on a plant-based diet, we would have 150,000 less premature deaths of cardiac disease and stroke. Herzinfarkt, Schlaganfall, 150,000 Leute. That's the leverage. And it depends on what you put every day on the plate. And obviously, it has a lot to do with the main driver of loss of biodiversity, of deforestation, which is meat. And ALDI Süd has a great campaign about Tierwohl. And this doesn't translate to English. Tierwohl ist eine Frage der Haltung. Haltung means attitude, and at the same time, the condition under which the animals are kept. So, Julia, what is your Haltung on Tierwohl? Why is that such a major topic for you?
Yeah, some years ago we met with our strategic decision makers and we talked about the possibility as a food retailer to really have a great transformation influence and to change something. And sure, the way we eat is one of the biggest portions in climate. Agricultural products have a huge impact on climate. But Germans love eating fresh meat, yeah? And,
we're in Bavaria.
But at the same time, German families love animals and the children love animals. And there was a huge discussion about husbandry, livestock farmers, and the way we treat animals. And we took a general decision to announce that we will stop selling fresh meat out of the lower categories of livestock farming. In German, it's Haltungsform 1 and 2. And we will only sell animal welfare meat and organic meat. And this idea... This huge idea of transformation was a kind of shocking as well for some people because they thought, okay, fresh meat will be much more expensive. But luckily, our competitors followed and we had the chance to change the total system in Germany. And now we already changed the same for milk, fresh milk. Today, we could announce that we stopped selling sausages out of the worst category of livestock. So the consumers follow our drive, even though it's a lot of explanation. How does livestock work? Why is it better for animals? But I think the Germans are getting more and more open.
Yeah, also due to your courage to be the first mover, because you are competitors. I would have expected that you hate each other, but you seem to get along quite well.
Not in sustainability. I think in sustainability, everybody recognized that it's only possible together. But this was 15 years ago, yeah? We already started to work together on sustainable cocoa, coffee many years ago. But to achieve the great move in Germany together with the customers, and you mentioned the planetary health diet, there it's not already 90% of the Germans who want to stop eating fresh meat. It's the other point. Only 10% really live like the planetary health diet would propose to us.
Yeah, there's this joke, how can you tell that someone is vegan? You don't have to tell, they are telling you. So
yeah.
We're mentioning this because meat is such an emotional, such an ideological part of discussion. Alexander, you changed sides in a way. You have been working for NGO, for the WWF, for the World Life Fund. And you had a very smart idea at Lidl. Du hast die Wahl, you have the choice. Wie gewohnt oder pflanzlich. the usual stuff or the planetary-based stuff. And you're putting the price at the same level. Why is that such a game changer in advertising also?
Yeah, if you, for us, I think it's where the planetary health diet, that is our North Star. So that's what we follow and what our strategy is based on. And we set targets which are underlying that. For example, a protein strategy which says more plant-based proteins in our assortment. And to actually execute on these targets, we did something like this. 1.5 years ago, in our assortment, you had like price level of plant-based proteins on that level, and animal on that. And what we just did is lowered the price to the same level. So price parity concept. So that on a 100-gram basis, you have exactly the same price, and we provide the customer the choice. So it's not about education, it's about one hurdle. Price was one hurdle. When you asked people, price was one hurdle. So we got rid of that one hurdle and provide, and also with advertisement like that, invite the people to check it out, get convinced, so that you don't have arguments why it's not working for you. At least the price one is not there anymore. That was the entire concept behind that, and it plays into that strategy that we want to have a planetary health diet for why we need that. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, because oftentimes the prejudice is, healthy food is only for the rich. Healthy food is an option. You go to a special place, you take your SUV and you drive 10 kilometers to get this really fresh vegetable and bring it home to your children. But you're a mainstream attitude former and changer, because if you have at the supermarket one section, this is the healthy stuff, and you think, oh, this must be the expensive stuff, I'm not going there, I have other things to care for, but you're just putting it next to each other. So what is the experience that you're having? Are people more willing to experiment when it's so easy?
Yeah. I mean, Julia just mentioned how much the percentage of vegans or vegetarians is in Germany, but that's not the target group. We address the so-called flexitarians, so the ones who are not the explicit, we only love meat people, but the ones who are willing to try things out and who also are willing to maybe have a little bit more plant-based. And to address this customer group, we really put the animal-based and the plant-based right next to each other. So there is not that vegan corner somewhere in the store. You find it directly next to each other.
But who's paying for the difference?
So, I mean, what we did is we speeded up a process which is happening. So, vegan segment is one of the fastest growing in the food industry. So, the prices went down, and for the time being, it was us paying, but it's speeding up a process that sooner or later plant-based products in most categories can become cheaper than the animal ones.
I mean, logically, the animal product must be much more expensive because it uses much more resources in the production. I mean, this immediately brings us to the big question, why are we subsidizing a kind of agriculture that's definitely destroying the soil, that's destroying the health of all of us, and is destroying our planetary health? So when you're thinking about your Hebel, your leverage, is there a chance that you two, together with the other two, Rewe and Edeka, are using the next weeks to have some really big move forward into changing the Steuersystem? Because for example, Hafermilch, oat milk, is taxed more heavily in Germany than cow milk. And this is absurd. So where can you two play a big, important role in political Rahmenbedingungen?
Yeah, I think the tricky point in nutrition is that planetary health diet is only one aspect, and plant-based versus animal-based consumption is only one aspect. There's also the organic farming versus the conventional one. There's salt, sugar reduction, there's fat reduction. There are so many topics in nutrition, and there's the behavior of the consumer. So, sure, we need political help and we need regulation, but the question is how to handle, and it's a very complex topic where we sit in a lot of meetings together with politicians, with ministries in Germany, and also non-profit organizations, how to handle it. Finally, we also want to have liberty for our consumers, but our success story in organic items is, for example, that we started 20 years ago to sell organic products at ALDI Süd, and now we are organic market leader in our distribution area. So it takes time, and sure, organic is still a little bit more expensive. So I would not say that the more sustainable solution always can be on the same price level. For organic, for example, it's not possible because the farmer has to invest more and we have to pay it. But to push all these directions of healthy nutrition and more conscious nutrition, why am I part of the world, of the planetary boundaries, when I push my pocket in the supermarket, and when I pay, yeah, I'm part of the total system, and perhaps the people here are very aware of, but there are other areas in our society where we didn't get the point yet.
Yeah, when we're looking at something everybody of us is familiar, you're advertising, it's always about what is cheap at the moment. And when something is cheap, you tend to buy more than you need. And I would like to talk about food waste. I'm not sure if you're familiar with the amount of food that is wasted. It's about 1/3 of all the food production is wasted. And a lot of it is on the production side, but then on the customer side. So you at Lidl had this idea of Rettertüte, the bag, the savior bag, so to speak. What is a Rettertüte saving?
Yeah, this Rettertüte concept is basically, it costs €3 and fruits and veg, which doesn't look perfect anymore, and also goods which are close to expiration date, we put them in there so that they get sold, and it's a very successful concept. We saved, I looked it up for you, 63,000 tons over the last two years. So that's a lot of food waste that we avoided, and it's a quite successful project which we rolled out over entire Germany.
So this is basically containering for people who don't want to have their hands dirty.
If you want to see it that way.
So you don't have to climb into the bin yourself.
No, but
Lidl does it for you.
What we also do is, for example, we are partner of Die Tafel, so an organization which provides food for the ones in need. And for this Rettertüte, so we also, a small percentage, so 20 cents per bag, we also provide as a donation to this organization. So it's really a holistic approach for really good food.
Julia, yeah. Julia, you were mentioning that it's has a lot to do with educational. Do people know how important the food is for their own body and also for the planet and the soil? You're supporting Acker. Who of you knows Acker? The Akademie, Gemüseakademie, Christoph Schmitz, a social entrepreneur. He's reaching out to 300,000 kids already, and he's now starting to work together with brands, with employees, with other people, because I grew up in Berlin. I have no clue how a carrot grows. But Acker is changing this. Why are children so keen on having their own little garden at their school or their kita?
Yeah, we are a very great support partner of ACCA because we really love their work. We also have them in our ALDI kindergarten, and even my son had the opportunity to participate. And it's nice to see when children get the connection to soil. And as a food retailer, we have to care about healthy soils because there are scientists who tell us that there will only be 60 harvests and then nothing will come out of our soils anymore. And that would mean that our business finally stops. So we have to care about it. But we also found out that children in Germany are not really connected everywhere, as you mentioned in Berlin, for example, to the source of fruit and vegetable. And it's also a part of healthy nutrition. If you know how it tastes when you took your own carrot out of the soil and you can enjoy it directly, this changes something in the mindset of children. And yeah, we love supporting them and we participate on our own because it connects you with nature and the products. It's also important for our buying directors, they also participate. And for children, hopefully it's an investment in nutrition science, nutrition education for their future life.
Yeah, great initiative. You're supporting the WWF, where you came from.
So for us, I mentioned it, one of the key tasks is that we stay within the planetary boundaries, and we need a transformation of the global food system. And this is a task so huge that we need partners to do that. And as one of the largest retailers, we also partnered with one of the largest NGOs to really address these environmental challenges that we face, may it be protecting biodiversity, the climate crisis, or also natural resources. And to do so, we entered that partnership, and you've seen it, to provide more sustainable choices. So that's the core of what we are doing there. We started that last year. It's a long-lasting partnership, and where we really work together to, I mentioned it, we need that transformation of the global food system, and we as Lidl want to take an active part and shape that transformation.
Something that people realize when you look at the prices of products, the price for chocolate is going up. The cacao plant depends on one type of mosquito, which I didn't know. Frauke is just coming down. Frauke Fischer, if you want to know anything about biodiversity, Frauke Fischer has her own chocolate from Peru, which is the best chocolate I've ever tasted. Olive oil. The olive tree is famous for being heat resistant like no other plants, but even they are buckling down on the climate change. So we're already paying a price for not doing enough. So I would ask you, you've shown some great examples, but are we moving fast enough?
If you mention biodiversity, we started a program for farmers, organic farmers who invest in measurements for more biodiversity, and we pay with every Naturland labeled organic product, we pay into a fund, and then the farmer who does more for biodiversity gets some money. And I think this is one positive element that we as a society have to decide how to support farmers who do more than others. And the other part is every consumption is worse for biodiversity. So we also have to bear in mind how much consumption is okay for our planet, and the consumption of organic items, for example, is a chance. As a food retailer, we mention it on our packaging. We try to support the biodiversity idea, because if you ask people outside what does it mean, 90% of the society is not really aware. So it's also about education, but it's also about funding for farmers who support clear, measurable, impact-driven field experience.
I have one very simple idea to close with. People immediately change their behavior if they are aware of the true costs of things. For example, if you would require that when you buy a kilo of cheap meat, you have to carry all the manure, alle Gülle that was produced on the way back home with the meat. That would be 20 liters. So 2 big buckets of Gülle you hand out to the people and say, we have no more place in the soil. They're already overcharged with nitrogen. You have to care for it yourself. Please don't spoil it down the toilet, maybe in your sleeping room or wherever. Do you need a lid or do you carry it like this? So immediately people change their behavior if it becomes social norm. And if you see people are not good or bad, we're social beings. We're mainly impressed by good companies, by good examples, and then we follow. So the changes that you have made already are horrendous. And just to illustrate the cost of inaction, what do you think just a simple glass of honey would cost if the bee got minimum wage?
Oh.
Was kostet ein Glas Honig, wenn die Biene Mindestlohn bekommt? Any guesses? Ich verschenke es zu dem richtigen. I'll give it to the person who's closest. 1,000? 500,000? It's 300,000, so you were closest. You win it. So just to give you an idea of how important the food system is, together with biodiversity, with the soil, with the insects, with the pollination, and with people driving change. Thank you, Julia. Thank you, Alexander. So put the power back to the plate and the customer. Thank you.